And we are live. And Thomas just sent me something. All right. Well, I'll look at that later. Good morning. It is Friday, June 10th. Rob is grabbing coffee, so he will be on with us in a minute. But today is spoiler day. We're going to talk Strange New Worlds. We're going to talk Orville. We're going to talk Kenobi. We're going to talk, I don't know, whatever else comes to mind, we're going to talk. So, we'll do, let's see, just a quick update on the whole, email thing. So I am almost done. It is amazing how many like when I'm going over this list of emails from wherever and from Evergreen, and there are so many people like that work at multiple schools, specifically band, orchestra, like music essentially, and then PE as well. So, all right. Good morning. So, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. Busy morning, late work day yesterday. Busy morning today, but
yeah,
I got time to nerd out. This is my lunch break.
Sweet.
So I'm gonna take a sip of coffee from this coffee cup that I just got.
Oh my gosh, where did you get that?
I don't know. A good friend of mine gave it to me. Something about drinking it out of this makes it taste a little bit special.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm okay. So how far are you on Voyager now?
I just finished up macrocosm, the virus that turns into the jellies.
Yes.
So, and I'm like 10 minutes into the next episode where Neelix is having the crisis of identity, if you will. So it's about midway through season 3, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not. If you haven't guessed, I'm not a big Neelix fan. I've actually been. Let's see. I've actually watched ahead a little bit. There was the episode Memorial, which is one of the episodes that's for Your Trek is supposed to be for today. That's where they end up going to this this planet, or they start basically having memories of being in a war. And Neelix basically takes Amanda Wilder like hostage in the in his kitchen because he thinks that people are out to get him and her.
I kind of remember this episode.
Now here's the thing. This is the wonderful thing about episodic television. See, Thomas agrees. Neelix is a terrible character.
Yeah.
Neelix are the one thing I liked about Strange New Worlds so far is that they have this battle with the Gorn, and then they show up at the space station and they're getting everything fixed.
Yep.
With Voyager, like this episode Memorial or whatever, is basically there was this atrocity that happened on this planet like 300 years prior, like 86 people died. And so somebody had built this in fact, when I saw it, I was like, I am Kirok, because it looks like that little temple that keeps away meteors. But it was basically to send out brainwave stuff to change people's brains, to have them have these memories of a war, so it would never happen again. And they made some really good points. If we remember history, we will not repeat history because of all that, and attributing it to war, but that could be attributed to anything in history that's shitty. But the doctor says, unfortunately, you will always have these. You're never going to be able to get rid of these memories.
Yeah,
they're permanent. So you have an entire ship with PTSD from a war that never actually took place in, hundreds of years before, and the next episode, they're just fine.
Yeah. Well,
like never to go back.
They're constantly at battle, right? So you would think they would have tons of PTSD as is.
Right.
That was little complaints about Voyager, right? So one, how the hell does the ship always get fixed after a battle that breaks shit, destroys shit, and all of a sudden it's like, we're back to 100%. We don't have a starbase. Yeah. It's cool. We're replicating stuff. Right. Maybe that's why they're rationing out their replicator. I don't know. Who knows? But they don't answer that. We have the crappy character in Neelix, which I almost skipped the Tuvix episode because I hate it with a passion. Especially his rose embedded officer's uniform.
Yeah.
I thought that was just so stupid. But there was morality to it, which I get, right? I get the underlying, the definitive of life, but it's just such a crap episode and such a crappy character in Neelix. But they go through a lot of brain stuff. You've got Tom Paris accused of murder, and now he's going to relive the murder of this guy for the rest of his life on certain time frames. It's going to kill him, and they kind of sort of fix it. You've got Cass having her body infiltrated by the rebellion leader, and they fight for control. Then you've got B'Elanna Torres getting the memories of the race that created genocide against another subculture. I mean, it was almost like having an alien race with ships was too much to ask for. So they want to do some really cerebral episodes, which,
right.
I mean, I get, but it just kind of got old after a while. Sometimes they were good, and sometimes it was kind of like, okay, all right, it's another dream sequence. It's going to be fixed at the end. Like, it just never felt like there was a long-lasting piece. And for a ship that goes through as much as they do, they don't have a counselor. They don't have somebody to sit down and go, oh my God, we're going to be on here for 70 years, and I've been married for 20, but we're going to be here for 70 years, and I kind of want to make a relationship with insert person, but I can't, but I could, but is it okay? I mean, there's no struggle. I mean, they talk about it like once or twice in the early seasons, and then it just like Janeway and Chakotay's relationship. It's like the one episode with Q, we kind of get that when he wants her to be the mother of his child. It's kind of like he kind of talks about the feelings, never to be mentioned again ever.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I like Voyager because I like Star Trek, but I have complaints.
Yeah, it's
stupid, but they're complaints.
Let's see. The two episodes from yesterday, Blink of an Eye. This was actually kind of an interesting episode. They ended up getting stuck in, stuck in orbit of this planet, and it's not your typical round planet. It looks kind of weird, but everything that's happening on the planet is happening at like super high speed. And so, and of course, the inhabitants of the planet see this star that they end up knowing as the I don't know what, I can't remember what they called it, but basically Voyager influenced their entire culture.
Yep.
And so that was I've always enjoyed that episode. Yeah. I thought it was kind of cool. And then Virtuoso, Virtuoso. That's the one where Voyager saves a ship and they're all short, but they're all really little snobby little shits who think they're better than everybody else. But they've never heard of music or singing or anything like that. So that's the one where the Doctor kind of becomes a celebrity and actually wants to leave the ship.
Yep, I remember.
So yeah, that was.
I will always say Robert Picardo always needed more screen time, and so when he had episodes like that, I was always very happy because I love him as an actor. I loved the growth he gave to the Doctor.
Oh, absolutely.
Through the seasons, and anytime they did a Doctor focused episode, typically it's good.
So Thomas has been there's lots of comments, but this one, oh no, violation of the Prime Directive. Well, here's the thing: is that with that episode, they had no choice.
Yep.
There was no choice in it. They ended up in orbit and they got stuck. However, there was a discussion of the Prime Directive, of how much do they influence? Their ship just being in orbit. It's almost like a minor take on on that first episode from Strange New Worlds, is the whole race creates warp as a bomb based on something they witnessed in the sky. So there's just some things that you just can't control, but they did actually discuss that because they were like, well, how far can we take this? And they're like, no, so and then let's see, the other episode from today is Sunkatsi, that's the episode where we have The Rock, and we have basically Seven of Nine and Tuvok are kidnapped so they can fight in this octagon. So The Rock is in it, but The Rock is in it for only like a half a minute. Like, but it's really not
advertising.
Yeah,
I remember this because being a wrestling fan, remember at the time because SmackDown was on UPN as well, and they're going, see The Rock featured in Star Trek Voyager this week. I mean, they pushed it, and to your point, it's like, oh, there he is, and there he goes. Like,
yeah, he's in there for one fight, and they don't bring him back.
Yeah,
but when we come at actors who are veteran Star Trek actors, we have and I can't. The name was on the top of my tongue. Now I can't. Let's see. Oh, Jeffrey Combs.
Yep.
So he's in it, and I could never remember this name, but it's the guy. According to IMDb, it's J.G. Hetzler. He's the one who was General Martok.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He played a Herosian. And he plays the Herosian that they're supposed to, that he's training Seven because she's going to go into the Red Round or whatever the hell they call it. It's the fight to the death, and it ends up being him. And he's like, look, I've been fighting for 20 years. I'm just fucking killing me. Yeah. But he's got this very deep, recognizable voice, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's General Martok. So yeah. So it's always good to see these veteran actors showing up, here and there, especially Jeffrey Combs.
He has been in every iteration of Star Trek pretty much, if I remember correctly. I don't think he's been in Discovery. He hasn't been in Strange New Worlds yet.
No, but
he wasn't in Picard. But I mean, all the 90s.
Well, yeah, it did. Well, what did he play? What did he do? What did he do in The Next Generation? Because he's played several things in DS9.
He did DS9. He had several characters. I gotta look this up real quick. Yeah. I thought.
Well, I've got IMDb right here. I'll just click on him.
He's played 8 different characters. Where'd it go? There we go. Jeffrey Combs.
I think he actually holds the record for the amount of aliens that he's portrayed in Star Trek.
Okay, so he was, I stand corrected. So he was in DS9, Enterprise, and Lower Decks.
Artemis.
And he's done Brunt, Wayun, 5, 7, and 8. Thylax Shran, and other voice acting. Shran was on Enterprise. the Wayuns obviously on DS9, and then other random characters throughout everything. Let's see, career, blah 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 blah. I thought he was in the Next Generation. I may be standing corrected, which is okay.
I don't see the Next Generation listed here.
I know he's in Beauty and the Beast. He's in Flash, Babylon 5. Yeah, so he may have been everything but. So Voyager, Enterprise, DS9, and Lower Decks. So still a mainstay within the Star Trek guest appearances, and a very talented character actor.
He was in Robot Jocks? Did you ever see Robot Jocks?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah. That's just so... that's just so random. Like some people have seen Robot Jocks and then others are like, Robot Jocks, that was like dude, that was actually kind of a corny movie, but still I was like, oh, he was in Robot Jocks. That was kind of
cool. That was late 80s,
89.
Yeah. I do remember that. So we got a lot of other fun stuff to talk about.
We do. Okay, so spoilers ahead.
Yep.
Spoilers after this. What do we want to talk about first?
Let's hit up Orville.
Okay.
I don't have as much to say. So you and I were talking earlier. Orville season 1 and season 2 had a very unique approach to what I'm gonna call the Seth MacFarlane take on Trek, and it worked really well, and I really liked it. Mixing humor with Trek, his version of the Trek future, plus a little bit of reality mixed in, right? New Horizons, it's a different show. Like we talked about last week, the first episode, talking about suicide and just very dark,
Lisa
emotional episode.
She was like, I cannot believe. She's like, this is a really bad episode. She was just not impressed with it at all.
And then we get to this week. So this week, yet again. So now we're dealing with several different elements, right? We're dealing with divorce, the aftermath of that. We're dealing with relationship loss, which was interesting. We're dealing with negotiation, and then we're dealing with this new infectious race that we meet, which I liked that element.
I did. I actually thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, where it's a race of aliens that basically self-propagates through a spore or a virus of some type that rewrites your DNA to match theirs, which I thought that was really cool. I really like the character style. I like the way they handled all that. But again, the really only humorous thing was when you get the captain's addressed everybody. At the end, he's kind of like, "May the force be with you." Click.
Yeah.
It wasn't. There was no lightness to it.
Right.
It was very straightforward Trek, and like you and I've talked, a lot of it has to do with the people that are involved in New Horizons, where a lot of that humor is being taken out. It's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. I literally am looking at this now. I was thinking about this morning. I'm looking at this now. New Horizons is a new version of Orville. It doesn't change what's happened. It's not Orville. It's Orville New Horizons. It's a completely different take. And I don't think we're going to get the humor back. I don't. If we do, it's going to be one off, but I don't think we're going to get that back. I think they're going to really tackle a lot of seriousness.
I think, well, initially it was, and I remember seeing something about how, like, Fox was promoting it as a comedy.
Right.
And Seth MacFarlane was like, it's not a comedy. It's a sci-fi show with comedy.
Right.
And so I think that they might be trying to get out of that stigma of it being a comedy and just go, okay, we're just going to create a science fiction show.
Right. Which makes sense. when you have Seth MacFarlane associated with it, the assumption is Family Guy. The assumption is American Dad. The assumption is, that level of stupidity. We got that in season 1 and season 2 in good ways, right? The comedy was well timed. Some of the jokes where you're kind of like, practical joke, he cut off his leg. What the hell? But it made sense in the universe and at the time. But where the pendulum has kind of swung full the other side, there really is no comedy, and that's okay. And that might be why they moved to Hulu, aside from the production cost. So they have a little bit more creativity. Where maybe Fox was saying, "Hey guys, you've got to inject more humor. There's got to be more hijinks. It can't just be straight sci-fi." So it's not bad. It's not good. It's just different. So that's why New Horizons subtitle, I think, works well.
The one thing that kind of struck me different was you've got the doctor and you've got the first officer, and they're basically downing a bottle of wine.
Yeah, do that weekly now.
Apparently, they do it on a weekly basis, and the doctor's like, "Well, I was married before," and I was like, "Yeah, to Captain Sisko." And Lisa's like, "Shut up." But I'm like, wait a minute. Now, this is my contemporary mind thinking.
Right.
Bitch, you've got 2 girls, or you've got 2 kids. Of course you were married. Now, of course, you can't, you can have kids outside of marriage. That's fine.
Right.
People do that. But I'm just like, I would just kind of assume, like I would make that assumption. You have kids. So at one point you were in a serious relationship, maybe not actually married, but like would take on that model,
Right.
So, I was married once, just seemed like the dumbest line on the planet. I'm just like, really?
Yeah.
Now, one thing this is bad for me. We see the Admiral, and Lisa's like, he looks familiar. So I turned to her. I was like, yeah, he's the Charmed One's father. And she's like, oh my God, he is. How did you know that? I don't know. You forced me to watch that shit so much that, it just looks like an older version of him. And then I got on to IMDb, and it was him. So yeah. One of Lisa's favorite shows, Charmed, and I'm picking out a side character going, oh yeah, that was their dad.
The joy of the useless knowledge. But yeah, and we won't see him again. Yeah. But I don't know. I enjoyed the episode for what it was.
Yeah. It didn't completely turn me off. Like I said, it wasn't a great episode, but it wasn't a bad episode. It was just kind of there. And, we did kind of get a monster of the week, and maybe that's what it's going to turn into, a monster of the week with an underlying theme.
Maybe this is the new big bad, because they made I cannot remember the name of the Klingon staff race. But they make that peace treaty, so we're good for now, kind of thing. The ever-present Kittimer Accord, if you will. They got a tracker on their ship. We're not going to save you, but we need to keep track of where you're at. I mean, I kind of see them setting up for the season arc.
Mm-hmm.
I hope we get some of the exploration, the monster of the week kind of stuff, with that overarching arc of this could go really bad really quickly. But it also goes back to the fear in me. It goes to that Discovery style thing where it then focuses on that overarching super big bad. Every episode leads to final confrontation with super big bad, resolution, move on to next super big bad, build the suspense,
right.
Do whatever you need to do to introduce them, and then do problem solved.
Right.
I'm liking it. I don't really know why. I like the characters, I think, more than anything, and it's sci-fi. So
yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I'll keep watching it. I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go from Orville to Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, that's where I was thinking about going. I really like this episode. However, in the back of my mind, I was trying to pick out which actress or actor or they or them or whatever the fuck was supposed to have been in this episode that they were like, oh. So, yes, my fears were completely unfounded, but still at the same time, I was like, I wonder. But that didn't really distract from the episode. I actually thought it was pretty good. Knowing that that the whole alien race or this whole race, their whole ecosystem is kept up by the brain energy from a kid.
Yeah,
we will never see them in the Federation ever.
No. Hard no. That threw me for a loop. And even as we got towards the end of the episode, I'm like, Pike's going to jump in and save the kid. Oh shit, he didn't save the kid. Like it.
Yeah.
But one of the random thoughts I had, holy shit, there's Sam Kirk.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like for that long.
Yeah. Just where I'm like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? All right. I'm out of here. Yeah. You know, I was like, well, okay, at least you're still on the ship and part of the cast and making a paycheck. But I liked, yet again, character-focused episode where you're getting some behind-the-scenes pieces, storytelling, acting, all phenomenal. When the doctor's kid and the chosen one,
the chosen one,
they're sitting there playing. I was like, that's so adorable. First thought in my head, that's awesome. Oh my God, what's gonna go wrong?
Right.
And then we find out not that long later what was going wrong. But I really feel like every episode I'm falling more and more in love with this show. Are there some things that we can pick at? Probably. But the fact that we start the episode with Lieutenant Pike. Gold looks good on you. Like, wait a minute. Back that shit up. What the fuck did you say? And so we get this backstory about him and the love interest, and then, we kind of go from there. I dig the I don't know how to phrase it. The randomness they throw out as if everybody should know it.
Right.
We don't really want to go into it too much, just enough to go, yeah, they have a relationship. Well, how do we address that? She calls him Lieutenant Pike. Yeah, okay. And he says, yeah, I saved her on a shuttle once. There you go. We leave the rest to your imagination, but it works well.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like having to be like, oh, I saved her on a shuttle once, and then we have a whole scene of that recreation, like they're telling the story.
Right.
You don't need to, because sometimes in real life, it's just like, oh, that's how. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're just taking along for the ride in the present. Yeah, I do like that.
But it definitely, the episode definitely tugged at everyone's heartstrings. I think it, just like Good Trek does, it leaves you with really difficult questions, ethical questions, or social situations that you literally sit there and have to go, damn, do you interfere? What is the life of one versus the life of many? I mean, it just you get pulled into those mental quagmires, if you will, where you're battling against all the different parts and pieces. And I literally felt myself when the episode was done. I sat there. I didn't watch anything else back. I literally sat there and drank my coffee and was going, "Fuck, that's man." If that was my kid, I'd be trying to save him too, and do this and do that. But shit, at the same time, man, your whole society. But does it make it right? No, but has it always been that way? Kinda, there's just a lot of questions that came out of it. But I really, really, really enjoy the storytelling, the cinematography, the acting, the editing. I really don't have anything bad to say. I really don't.
Yeah. I think it was, I liked it. So now there's only 4 left.
I know. But the upside is we know we got more coming. So it's not aren't they going to renew it? It's oh yeah, it's definitely happening. So that's good. Obi-Wan. So a continuation of the story. Yep.
Not like it's not one of those filler episodes. You know, we have 10 episodes and we need to have one that just kind of tells an off story, kind of like they did with The Mandalorian, or even like half the episodes with Book of Boba Fett. So they are getting straight to the point. They're continuing this story. Nice touch seeing the snow speeders.
Yes.
That was kind of an interesting. I was trying to think of this line from Empire, where they said, well, you know, he says, well, can't we just get a speeder? And he says, no, we're trying to adapt them to the cold.
Right.
So, but at the same time, and this is just, you know, maybe just a bad memory that was, I always thought that they built those on Hoth for the environment. I don't know where that information came from. I don't know if that was a role-playing game information, or if that was, I don't remember where I heard it, but for some reason that was in my brain.
And the problem is that around that time, so we had the novelizations of the movies, which added more stuff that wasn't even in the script.
Right.
We had the comic books that were taking place as side stories that, you know, as kids, we were taking it as canon, but kind of wasn't. It was the Marvel books at the time.
Yeah.
So it could have been from one of those. I kind of remember it as well, but I remember the line from, you know, they're adjusting it to the cold. I remember that clearly, but I kind of had that too. And I was like, we watched it not long ago. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, we're adjusting them to the cold, which means that they just brought them on planet. Like they unpacked them and they're sitting there and they're just, you know, so that one line, which is canon, kind of establishes that it's just another ship.
Yep.
So, and maybe not, maybe more of just an atmospheric ship and not an interplanetary ship.
Right.
So, but yeah, I thought, but having the speeder kind of pause and just kind of hang there, I thought was odd.
Yeah.
I was like,
where's my crosswind?
Are those supposed to be able to do that? Is she using the Force? No, she's not using the Force. It's actually hanging there because then it shoots and then it speeds off. So I don't know. There was just that kind of in my brain. I was like, oh, okay. Well, there's that. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't a bad episode, but it wasn't a great episode. It was just a continuation of the story. I do like, I really like the little girl who plays Leia.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, and I like the way that she's written too. I mean, I think they really captured the essence of Leia.
Yep.
Where she is, she's like, okay, fine. I'll tell you everything. But I got to ask my dad first. Well, you said that we're all on the same side. Yeah. and I love the third sister's just like,
yeah.
Fuck. Okay.
Outwitted by a kid. Fine.
Yeah.
But I will say, so third sister, right? You and I both agreed going into the first 2 episodes, angry black woman stereotype.
Yeah.
And as we kind of get past that, she is getting more and more depth. And this is one of those downsides that with the criticism that came out And I'm not discrediting the racist comments that were sent to the actress. Right. With the criticism that was coming out and how everybody was, you can't criticize the character, blah, 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 blah. I tend to try to hold back full judgment until I see the whole character arc. Mm-hmm. That's why, we've said it, like, she came across like an angry black woman. Now, we didn't say, oh, she is the angry, that kind of thing.
Right.
But I like that she's getting more depth. We're seeing, in the scene with her and Vader, we see, in my opinion, this is why you're kind of violent. He just walks in and force chokes her and throws her back and is like, this is what failure gets. And I'm like, abusive dad. That's why she's being the way she is with other people. You're not giving me what I want. Fine. Fuck you. She's not, that's what she's used to.
Right.
So that's how she's learned to show power and strength is through violent action. So I was like, that's cool. I get that. That gives her some depth. Her repertoire with Leia and everything, I loved it because you're seeing other sides of her. You're seeing she's devious. Mm-hmm. My lord, I didn't fail. I let them escape. I planted a tracker. Oh, when she was fiddling with the droid, there's a tracker in it. Holy shit. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I like where they're taking her. I'm interested now to see if there is a redemptive story or if she's just going to be bad and die or bad and live. I don't know. So I'm actually starting to get a little invested in the character. The episode had a lot of Easter eggs from I had it 10 minutes ago. The Jedi video game that came out not long ago, and I own it. And I can't think of the title, but anyway, Cal Kestis is the main character, and so this is where we get the Inquisitor's Temple.
Fallen Order or Jedi Fallen Order. Okay, I've never played any of the video games. I originally had Star Wars Old Republic.
Yeah,
originally for Xbox. I'm not a big video game player, so I got maybe 20 minutes into the game, and then I don't know. But my kids have finished it.
Yeah, it's a good game. I've played it more times than I'm willing to admit. Plus the sequel, plus the online, plus the whatever. But no, there's a lot of so that's where we get the Inquisitor's Temple from. The idea that they're encasing, all the people they're encasing, according to the video game. These are Jedis and Force sensitives that they are going to turn to the dark side and either kill them or turn them into Inquisitors later on. So this is kind of where you're getting some of these characters. So it's cool to see these Easter eggs kind of cross over. I like that. Vader just being a badass. He's the worst boss in the world. But I mean, overall, it was an episode. Wasn't good, wasn't bad, just telling the story.
There was an article that I saw about Kalen Voss and how he actually and I don't know if this was on purpose or if this was or if they're just going, oh well, there's a character that there's this character in the background and we're going to use that design to promote this other but so Kalen Voss is that he comes up in the last episode where he's all right, what am I right or am I wrong about that? The quote that that Obi-Wan was reading in that little secret cave, and then does he say it's from Kalen Voss?
I think he did. He did.
So I saw some article and it had screenshots from Phantom Menace where it's the scene where they walk past this like eatery, and it's the one where what's his name? Jar Jar, doesn't
tempt him.
Eats the thing that's hanging there.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in the background, Kalen Voss is actually sitting in there. There were screenshots. Well, so I don't know if this is what I saw because I had previously seen the episode, but when Obi-Wan first walks into that hallway and you see you kind of get the first glimpse, you're like, oh, those are people. You don't see anything up. They eventually show stuff up close, but but you just see the first glance. It almost looks like Kalen Voss is on the when you're looking at it. It's the character closest to you on the left-hand side.
Yeah,
just because of the hair.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, that. So, but then when he walks down, I'd have to rewatch the episode again. But when he walks down and you're actually seeing, there's one where there's the hair is kind of out, but he doesn't have like the gold
right
along his face. So I don't know if that was the same character or what, but that's kind of was like, oh shoot, they got Kalen Voss in there. So, but I don't know Kalen Voss's history very well.
I don't either. I know he's a Jedi Master. That's about as far as it goes.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely look into that one. Remember correctly, they had a youngling in there from the helmet.
Yeah.
So like there was some cool stuff that they kind of threw at us to again plant some seeds. And I think that's really what this episode this episode was really more about, was planting seeds for where we're going from here. Right. I don't really feel like it was a super strong episode, but it was partly fan service, partly trying to set up what's coming next, a little foreshadowing, if you will.
I like how they played with Kenobi's, like he's just sitting there. They're traveling to wherever they're traveling, and he's sitting there trying to use the Force. So it's almost like he's trying to build up his Force strength because he actually hasn't used it in 10 years. And then when when they're actually in the underground tunnel and the window starts to crack and he's trying to hold it, and then he just busts the entire thing and was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was a cool little bit, and that's also a callback to Fallen Order. There's a scene in there where you do the exact same thing. It's like almost the exact same hallway. Yeah, I was reading that on, I think it was comicbook.com or somebody. They're like, talking about all the Fallen Order Easter eggs, and that was one there's like, there's a scene they do it almost like the same exact window and almost the same exact way, except he escapes through the water instead of running in the hallway.
Right.
But no, I like I said, I think we're starting to get a little bit better. I like that. Again, Obi-Wan is struggling. This isn't like, all right, fine, I can reconnect to the Force. I'm powered back up. It's a struggle. He's been disconnected so long. He is struggling to get back to his former strength, which, if we get an encounter with him and Vader again, because I don't know if we will,
right?
If we get that encounter again, maybe it becomes a stalemate, which leads to the final encounter. If we don't, which I am okay with, that gives it more precedence, where that's why he's kind of like, I'm so strong in the Force now, I know what I need to do to propel Luke, because I can kind of see it, or however you want to kind of view that.
Right.
But I do like the fact that we are seeing, I hate saying it this way, for me this is more of a Vader show. Every time Vader comes on, we're seeing how powerful he really was and wasn't able to kind of show that off in the original trilogy. We're seeing how badass he really is.
We've talked about the third sister having some type of redemption. Do you think that there could be and this would be, I think, kind of cool to watch, a battle between like Obi-Wan and Vader, and then she gets involved, allowing Obi-Wan to escape?
I can see that because they almost foreshadowed that, right? So last episode, Vader's stalking through the town after Obi-Wan, and she starts, fifth brother pushes her back. He says not to interfere. I can almost see that. If there's not someone there to stop her, and she's like, I can do this too, jumps in, she's a tool to Vader. And I can see that being, Vader kills her because she does something stupid, right? She decides to jump in the battle or whatever. Vader cuts her down because you're in my way, and off goes Obi-Wan. That was the split second he needed to do whatever he needed to do to get out. I can see that. I think that would be cool. I don't even know if I would even call that even a redemption arc at that point. I would just say,
well, I mean, there could be, like the way you're describing it, there could be this where she gets in the way and gets struck down because she's in the way. Or there could be like she finally has her one-on-one with Obi-Wan.
Right.
There's she whatever her beef with him is. And I'm not sure yet if it is a personal beef and that is why she wants to help Vader find Obi-Wan, right. Or is it she just wants to she's just doing this because she wants to be closer to Vader. I haven't figured, because they've kind of, depending on how you look at it, they haven't given you truly either way. I mean, there's kind of hints on both sides, at least from my perspective. So there could be she gets struck down in the just because she's being in the way, or she ends up having there's like a scene with her and Obi-Wan. She gets her beef out. There's like that. Oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Hugs and kisses, and then she's like, "Run! I'll take care of Vader."
Right.
Or I'll sacrifice myself.
Which we kind of already had that. If you go to Rebels, we had that with Ahsoka, right? Mm-hmm. Trying to save, kid's name escapes me at the moment, but trying to save one of the main characters by going, listen, I'm going to fight Vader. You need to get out. And she has.
Oh yeah, that was on the Sith planet, and that was when Ezra. She's like, I'll take care of Vader, and you need to escape. Yep.
So we could have that. Or it, the other possibility is we go to that same route, right? We start that conversation of, why do you hate me so? You abandoned us, you left us all to die. And I had to, give up everything that I ever knew. My family betrayed me. And the only person that was still there was Lord Vader. He's got my love eternal, blah, blah, blah. They fight. Obi-Wan kills her. Yeah. Which I'm okay with that too. Like, I think any way they handle this character, it's going to be interesting.
Right.
Because it literally, there right now, from what I see, there's three possibilities, right? Vader kills her because she's useless. And then she has that last minute moment of, but you didn't love me, Daddy. Have the, Obi-Wan turns her back to the light side. Vader lied to you. He was the reason that all this happened, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. I'll stand guard and you get out of here. Let me reverse that. Also with that, the conversation could be kind of like what we had in Rebels with Obi-Wan and Darth Maul of, listen, I can't die. I'm protecting the chosen one. I've got one of the twins of prophecy. I have to do this. Wait, what? That's real? Yeah. The girl you keep kidnapping, she's one of them. I have to go do this, kind of thing.
Right.
So like there's some opportunity there, but I really kind of don't want to see her redeemed. If I had a choice, I'd like to see her, and this might be part of some of those reshoots they're doing, right? I'd like to see her continue on tormenting Obi-Wan and being part of the reason why he has to look over his shoulder, whether she was supposed to die in the finale, they're reshooting that, or not. I'd like to see that become more of an adversarial piece,
right?
And grow on it. But we'll see. I think this is where we're getting a lot of that character growth, and it's creating those possibilities that are all interesting. And depending on how they go, it could continue to make it a really cool thing. She could be one of those characters that we look back on a lot like the cast of Rogue One and go, can we get a story of her now? Can we get some filler of Third Sister? Because she started off rough, but she ended really cool.
Yeah.
I think it's possible, but that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. No, it was, who was, I think it's the manager of the Dutch I go to. He was saying so far, he's like, yeah, I've seen him. He goes, this is just not the Kenobi I was hoping for.
Yeah. I remember our conversation with him last week. All but one of my Star Wars, like hardcore fan friends, love to like, it's like, I'm not ready to make a decision yet, but I like what they're doing. I can't tell you if I love what they're doing. But I haven't had anyone say it's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
That makes me go, what did you expect? Did you expect Obi-Wan to kind of come out of nowhere and be like, yes, I'll save you, princess, and I'll fight Palpatine, and I'll fight Vader, and I'll destroy a planet of Sith, and I'll do this, and lightsaber battles all day, I don't know. I don't know what some of these folks are expecting out of the show. But we also didn't get a lot when you look back on the trailers. We kind of understood that there was going to be this lead up to almost to an awakening of Obi-Wan and a battle with him and Vader. It's kind of how it was implied. It's that rivalry that leads to the moment in A New Hope. And I feel like we're getting that. We're getting some side stories, a little bit of retconning, which we still haven't seen if it's going to be – the retcon's going to be retconned. But
yeah, because we still haven't seen the Grand Inquisitor that we know.
Right.
Or at least it's supposed to be the one that literally starts out Rebels. That he's dead. But is he dead?
Right.
But in the way that they're talking about it, he's dead.
Right.
Because Obi-Wan is like, oh, or not Obi-Wan. Darth Vader's like, oh, third sister, if you're gonna if you do this, if you're successful, I will make you Grand Inquisitor.
Right.
Which could go either way. It's either it's a position that needs to be filled because the dude is dead, or the dude is what's it called? He's failed, injured, and so now he's being demoted.
Right.
And she's being promoted. And so that could definitely be a thing. But also look at the race. Okay? The race, there could be another, they could just say, okay, well, this is the Grand Inquisitor at the time.
Right.
Because he doesn't look exactly like he does in the cartoon.
Right.
He's got a little fatter face. Even though I think actually watching the show versus watching the trailers, he looks better in the show than he does in the trailers. Just because I think we get a different sides and aspects to him.
Yep.
But so they could just say, oh, well, no, the Grand Inquisitor that you see in Rebels is a Grand Inquisitor. It's just that 5 years had passed between this story and this story. So third sister may have died, or maybe he's risen and it is the same one,
or we have 12th brother that came up in the ranks. I mean,
exactly.
We don't really know the way that the Inquisitors work. We understand that there's a title system.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there is a second brother somewhere out in the galaxy, right? Because we know that they've spread out everywhere,
right?
So maybe there's a second brother, which is his twin brother, and he comes back and Grand Inquisitor. Nope, I am second brother.
Yeah,
you could get the soap opera approach, right?
Also, the markings on the head,
right?
Is that racial markings for his race, or is that the markings of the Grand Inquisitor?
Right.
Because maybe she becomes Grand Inquisitor and they mark her forehead. I don't know. I'm just throwing shit out there, but
But I think that's one of the benefits of this show is that we are getting more questions as we go through than we're getting answers for right now.
Yeah.
And it's sparking those conversations, right? Hopefully the conversation of racism in the Star Wars fandom, I mean, it's toxicity in every fandom. Star Wars seems to be a little bit more than most lately, which does bother me as a Star Wars fan, but that is neither here nor there. But we're now getting away from that. We're getting back into the character questions, the galaxy questions, the mythos questions. What is this? What is that? Could it be this? Could it be that? So we're having those water cooler style conversations, which, that, to me, those are those are my favorite ones. You come up with this idea and you think, oh, it could be this, it could be that. This is what I think it should be. Then you have to wait and find out. We did this after Return of the Jedi. Holy shit, what happens next? And what's this? And what's that? And who's this? And how's this happen? And what is this? And we're getting the books and we're still, playing these mind games, if you will, the what ifs. And we all create our own mythos of Star Wars and kind of where it goes from there. And, and then we get what happened, right? And then we get the prequels, and then we get the last three.
Yeah.
I still want someone to retcon those, please. It was all just to watch Luke wake up in bed and go, oh, that was a horrible dream, and it's done. Let's move past it. It was a forced dream. Move past it, walks into a space station, and there's Palpatine laying in the bed, and he just goes, shoves a lightsaber through him, blows up the base. Snoke dies, all the clones die, and he's like, that's not going to happen. And then we can, go off on our merry way. Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren story.
Wouldn't that be like that? Could totally be part of a Mandalorian episode, or a like just kind of like or even maybe even part of Ahsoka.
Yes.
Like you see the like it would open up and you've got the last Ben kissing Rey.
Yep.
Before Ben dies, and then a young Luke wakes up just like, oh my god,
not again.
And then Ahsoka is like, Luke, are you okay? And he's like, yeah. Okay, so the future's not set. I
had this weird dream
We
kissing cousins and aunts and shit. No, we're not doing that. I did it once. I didn't know. It's not my fault. I can't stop dreaming about it.
Yeah.
No. I will that ever happen?
No,
but we can all dream, right?
Right.
I hate those movies. Not really. Let me rephrase that. 7 was okay. I got 7, but it's where they went after that was just horrendous. Was not happy about that. But what am I going to do? I don't write for them.
Here's the thing. I never really liked the whole idea of Starkiller Base.
Sorry to make anybody motion sick. I got to move that. The skies just opened up here in Florida.
Oh, fantastic.
Sit down in my kitchen here.
I never really liked the idea of Starkiller Base. I really wish. I mean, I know that there's, even if they continued on the way they did, by rehashing just a different version of A New Hope, yeah.
And I've said before, and I think you and I've talked about this, whether it's been online or one-to-one, but I understood it from J.J. Abrams thing, right? We're it's kind of the it didn't work, but it did. How do we make it better? Retell the story, but do it in such a way that we're building this current generation to introduce this new Han Solo, this new Luke Skywalker, this new core cast. And I got it. I thought it was kind of lazy writing from one standpoint, but I understood it. But the problem came to me is where we go after that. And again, Rian Johnson, full blame falls on him. We have Luke Skywalker as the Obi-Wan character now, and we have this massive missed opportunity for him to train Rey. We have this massive missed opportunity for Kylo to have a redemptive arc, which he does, but do we really give a shit?
No.
I didn't. And I wanted him to be redeemed. We missed out. We have all this stuff from the Jason and Jana series and the books, which I understand is not canon, but you have the struggle of the twins. You have this whole thing, and that you literally could have taken that story, changed some of the characters, put it into play, and it would have worked. But I mean, I could quite literally go off on the trilogies for hours because it took. I think JJ, if I remember correctly, JJ sat down with Dave Filoni and George Lucas on his original outline and got the okay. And then again, Rian Johnson comes in and goes, fuck your outline, fuck your script. What's the last scene? Cool. Here's my Star Wars. And that's what he said in plenty of interviews. This was my Star Wars. But it's not your Star Wars. You are one director in a series. You're one writer in a series. If you get your own trilogy, which again, thank God it's been canceled. If you get your own trilogy, you do your Star Wars. But this is actually George Lucas's Star Wars that we're allowed to play in the story. This is, and I hate saying it's the fan Star Wars, but it is. This is the stuff that we've all grown up with. It's multi-generational, it's international, and this is something that you need to have some level of respect for versus egotism. And
it fell apart. And unfortunately, it led to a spot where we didn't get Colin Trevorrow's version, which the script is online. If anyone hasn't read it, highly recommend it. Holy shit. It still has some of the same parts and pieces, but it is such a better tale as far as an ending and how things make sense than what they went with. And that was also disappointing when you finally see it and you're like, yeah, I guess I can live with this. And then Colin's like, hey, I finally got permission. Here is my script. Y'all can read it. And you read it and go, what? This would have been so much. Just take his script, pay him for the script, and hire JJ back to direct it. Holy shit, this would have been so much better. More action, more adventure. All the characters have a meaning. We don't have to question, wait, how did ships from everywhere get here within 15 minutes? And all the loopholes that existed. It was an epic tale that was very beneficial of the past mythos of Star Wars, the story that was set up, and created a really solid ending to a lukewarm trilogy. But
yeah,
that's my soapbox. I'm going to step off now.
Yeah. I think I've only seen Last Jedi twice.
That's one more time than me.
Yeah. I think, because there were a lot of people who were like, oh, give it another chance. And so when I bought it on digital, I was like, oh, okay. So I watched it on digital, and yeah, it still sucked.
I will say it is the only Star Wars movie. So I took, normally the way that I've done it, Force Awakens comes out. I went and saw it opening night. Then that weekend I took my kids to go see it so that they had that movie theater experience with Star Wars. So it was my dad, my stepmom, my wife, my kids. I cried, not because of the movie, but because I'm taking my kids the way that my parents had taken me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So it was awesome for me. Did it for the second film. And then I figured, you know what? My kids are a little bit older now. Let's go. We'll all go to the movie theater together. We did it on a Sunday. We went like Sunday afternoon. And when it was done, and look, I own it. I have to. I'm a collector. I own it. But I have yet to watch it. It's still wrapped in cellophane. I have not opened it. It sits on my shelf. It will sit like that in ad nauseum unless one of my kids wants to watch it. But
yeah, I only own the sequels in a digital format. I don't actually have hard copies.
See, I'm just that guy. I have to. It's one of those things I hate it. I kind of hate about myself sometimes. I'm like, I gotta own it. But I don't.
Now, Star Trek, I have hard copies of everything. Star Trek 09 and beyond.
Right.
Except for Edge of Darkness. I don't own it. I don't own it on digital.
It doesn't exist.
I don't own it on hard. I refuse. I did find out, like, when I told the kids, I was like, yeah, it was a horrible movie. They copied and pasted scenes, switch characters. Apparently Spock is going to get really emotional, and he's only known Kirk a fucking year. And yeah, so I was like, it's a horrible movie. In fact, when I told the kids, I said, you can watch it. I don't care. Come to your own conclusion, but do not watch it on my television.
Yeah.
I don't want those pixels. I don't want the pixels on my screen to be infected by that movie. So when after Enterprise, in the Euro Trek, after Enterprise, I will rewatch it just so I can talk shit about it. But I have this, and actually, let me check really quick if I still have it.
I will say, while you're doing that, my wife gave me an opportunity. We, Black Friday Blu-ray deals at Best Buy, and she called me and she was like, "Hey, they got one of those Star Trek movies. It's $5." Oh, okay. I own most of them. Which one is it? Into Something. No, but it's $5. No, it's wasted $5. I'm never gonna watch it. Don't get it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Yeah, I got like all the movies when they re-released them on Blu-ray. I bought the whole box set. And I got all that sitting in my collection too.
Yeah. Oh, why am I not finding it? Okay, so maybe it's here. Reading list. So there is there's a link, and I'm not. Oh shoot, I can't. All right, so this is. It's an article, and I so wanted. Oh, it's killing me that I don't have it here. Okay, so I'm gonna have to search for it because it is this guy. It's a conversation that he wrote where it's like, oh, hey, did you hear the new Star Trek came out? Yeah, I heard this new Star Trek come out. And I wanted to do this with my daughter because it's basically a conversation this guy wrote between somebody who hasn't seen the movie and has seen the movie. And they're like, so that's a thing? Really? They're doing that now? Like, it is so bad. Like, it totally rips on it. And I came across the article. I remember reading something similar to when it came out, but when I found this article, I was like, okay, I have to keep that. I just don't know where it is now. And it's killing me now that I've been looking for it and I can't find it.
Sorry, I thought somebody was calling me on Teams on my work computer, but it's my wife working from home today.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'll eventually find it because it's a riot. Like, it's like how to describe the movie to somebody. It's like telling them it's bad without telling them it's bad. And it's just I find it super funny. It's almost like, telling somebody that they're stupid without telling them they're stupid by saying, man, you make Forrest Gump look like a Mensa candidate. One of my new favorite lines from
That's
300
awesome.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to go search for that.
Yeah,
thing.
We'll have to, once you find it, we'll have to reenact that.
Yeah. One of the original one that I found, and I don't think it was in this one, but they touch on all the dumb shit that Into Darkness brings up. And then it's like and the guy, the writer's like, well, I guess it's just Eric Bana's fault that this all happens. And so when you hear me say, well, it must just be Eric Bana's fault, that's what I'm referencing. I'm referencing that article that probably only like 20 people read, years and years ago. But it's like, why did the Praxis moon blow up? Like, I don't know, 50 years before it was really supposed to. I don't know. It's probably Eric Bana's fault, so yeah. Now, I like Eric Bana. In fact, I actually kind of liked his portrayal of the Hulk. Actually, that was but
see, I like his.
And he's done some other really good movies too.
He has, and I like Eric Bana, and I liked his portrayal. It was a different take on Romulans. I liked it. But yeah, Praxis is always one of those things where I'm just, did we hire the dad of the Klingon that just didn't understand not to push the big red button? I mean, you know, he was just like, what does this do? Don't touch it. Blah, touch it. And blew it up 50 years too early. I don't know. Just it's stupid shit. But it's always somebody else's fault. It's never the writer.
Okay, so here's a question. Thomas posted a lot earlier on, and I haven't been completely ignoring it. I saw this one. Figure we'll close out today with this. Is Batman a Mandalorian, or is a Mandalorian a Batman? So I don't know if he's referencing something or if that's just a question he brought up.
It's a great question. I don't know if he's referencing something or not. So if we go through the Mandalorian mythos,
yeah,
the answer would be neither. Well, no, excuse me. The answer would be a Mandalorian would be a Batman. For Batman, in order for him to be a Mandalorian, he would have to be adopted by a Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. But Mandalorians have toolkits hidden everywhere. They've got weapons. They've got tiny little rockets. They've got all this, utility belt built into everything they've got. So I would say a Mandalorian is a Batman versus Batman being a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That's
because both of his parents did die.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. But Alfred was not a Mandalorian. He was a British Secret Service that was then hired to watch over a young Bruce Wayne, and basically adopted him and helped him get connections with various organizations. And so, unless there's a story out there somewhere that I don't know about where a Mandalorian crashes on Earth and there's Alfred Pennyworth going, "Well, hello, take my armor, please," and puts it all on and beats the crap out of people and goes, "This will make a really good costume one day," and hides it in the closet.
There you go.
It's anything's possible. Anything's possible.
All right. So, that was interesting week. So we have, I haven't updated the list yet, but this coming Wednesday we have part 5.
Mm-hmm.
So not sure where they're going to go. All they know is that he's off. He's got Leia back. We've got these people who are basically, and that was one line that I found interesting. She because they basically just trafficked people,
correct,
and trafficked supplies, but they weren't warriors. They weren't fighters, but they're, we're going to help you out. And I can't remember the character's name, but the Imperial / rebel, she's like, now you're warriors, or now you're fighters.
Right.
Because that one died, and
it's kind of that birth of the rebellion in some ways. Right.
Yeah.
So we know that the rebels were not all soldiers. They were individuals that had various jobs and were tired and wanted to fight back and help. So we know that kind of tied in, which I did like that. I forgot about that until you mentioned it, but I did like that throwaway line.
Yeah. So he's got Leia. They're on their way back to whatever hiding space, and they're being tracked. So
see where it goes from here.
We'll see where it goes from here. And then Enterprise, it's episodic, or Enterprise, Strange New Worlds, it's episodic. So we don't know where the hell they're going.
Or who
in fact, they apparently they do have like preview commercials. But I haven't ever watched any of them. So I don't know. So we'll see.
I try to avoid those as much as possible.
Yeah.
Especially with Strange New Worlds, because I really like turning on the TV and going, what are we doing today? Versus, I watched that trailer. I mean, I'll do that for some of the other shows, but not for this.
Yeah. And then Orville, again, don't know where we're going to go. Episodic.
More spider people, maybe.
Possibly.
I mean, we'll be back was kind of the commentary you got at the end. So
yeah, exactly.
And then I will throw out, we might need to add this on there. I sent you the trailer for it yesterday, but Prey.
Oh, yes. And I watched it last night. And I saw one trailer. And of course, this trailer had new elements in it.
Right.
But I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm a fan of the Predators. I love the whole concept and everything. I have a bunch of the Alien versus Predator comic books and from Dark Horse and some other stuff. But being part Native American myself, when all of a sudden you're diving into Native American culture, you're dealing with a Comanche tribe, hunting. There's some inaccuracies around women's roles, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to get into that soapbox. But the fact that we've got this predator and they get to fight against this, primitive versus technology, which I really dig. And the fact that they are going to release this in Comanche, they are going to release the entire series. I think it's later on, as after the August 5th date, but you can actually watch it all in Comanche. I think that was awesome. I think it's Comanche or Chickawa, but anyway, one of the native tongues they're releasing in that native language, which is awesome.
Really? Oh, that's
I think I sent that link to you too. If not, I'll send it to you here in a minute because I got sent it to my buddy Justice. But I thought that was awesome that they're I gotta get through all these DIY emails sent back. There it is. It's Comanche. Prey will give viewers the option to watch the film in the Comanche language. Open this up here. Takes place 300 years ago on the land of the Comanche Nation. Follows Nauru. Scrolling through. Sorry. The direct fellow is very important to him, especially being Comanche and working with the Comanche language department, also with working with Comanche language speakers. But just the fact that people will have a choice, the world will have a choice to listen to the whole film in Comanche is amazing. I love that because there are a lot of native languages that are dead languages now. They have been killed off, and that's, not going through the whole variance between woke and wokey woke. Right. But they have been killed off because they were made illegal and whatever. But there are still some that survive, and it's cool that they're having a resurgence, and we're reintroducing people in a respectful way, in an entertaining way, to the actual languages. Star Wars has been put through multiple native tongues, and we're having that now done with Prey because it focuses on the Comanche. I think that's awesome, and I don't speak it, but I sure as hell I'm going to watch it with subtitles. Probably my second viewing. Throw on the Comanche language, throw on some subtitles, see what we got.
What would have been interesting is if they filmed it, like each time they film it, it's like, okay, we're gonna shoot a couple scenes here, and it's all gonna be spoken English, and then we're gonna film the next couple scenes, and it'll all be spoken Comanche, so they don't actually have to do the bad the voiceover dubbing.
Yeah, and I don't know, without reading the full article, I don't know. They may have done that. I mean, especially with the director being Comanche himself and a lot of Comanche speakers on set, it's very possible that they could have done that, because there is, in that trailer, there is some Comanche spoken. So it is very possible. They may have just said, hey, listen, we're going to shoot the scene twice. They shoot multiple times anyway. Right. We'll shoot. Okay, that was the scene. Replicate. Now do it in Comanche. If you don't speak Comanche, your back's to us. We'll dub it over or whatever. But I'm interested to see how they do it. But I love that fact. So August 5th on Hulu, we'll be able to watch that.
But even if they didn't speak Comanche, you can still learn lines. It's just memorization and being able to put those lines, be able to, and it's easier if you did speak Comanche to be able to, act, with the body and the face. But it's still something where
audio just died, Mish. So I know you're talking, but I'm having to watch it on the feed.
Oh shoot! I don't know why my audio died. Anyway,
it's on my end. My battery's about to die. I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh,
so
just a little.
I'm gonna jump off since it's about to die.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump on my phone. It's
okay.
On flip.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right. Well, we'll just end it here. So, Rob, thank you for coming on today. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more of the Comanche whole thing next Friday. And then, but let's see. Oh, do we have, now I'll just bring that up. So yes, Wednesday and Wednesday we've got Kenobi. Thursday we've got Orville and Strange New Worlds. And then, I don't know, I might actually watch a little bit of Miss Marvel, or I don't know, whatever other sci-fi stuff that pops up. But anyway, so thank you all for hanging out. Thank you, Rob, for coming on today. And I will see you all later. I don't need to finish my tea as I end it because this was gone a while ago. So have a safe weekend, and I'll see you Monday.